If you can just
Hello, and welcome to our EDD and Educational Sustainability informational session. Um, we will go ahead and get things started. Today, we are covering some introductions about your presenters, a little note about what is sustainability. We will go through our program structure and some focuses of our program, talk about our coursework and dissertation areas, and some tuition and funding. And of course, we'll hear from some of our current students, myself included. A little bit about me. My name is Sarah Holtzman. I'm joining you from Wisconsin. I'm part of Cohort 7 and currently serve as the Director of Equity and Title IX Coordinator at Lawrence University. My experience is predominantly in higher education, but I have plenty of areas of interest and areas of focus, which this program has allowed me to take advantage of. And now I'll go ahead and pass things over to Sergio to allow him to introduce himself.
Yeah, hello. My name is Sergio Romero. I am from Delavan, Wisconsin. I officially joined the EDD program as cohort 5. I recently entered into doctoral candidacy this past summer. My experience is primarily in manufacturing, sustainability, and DEI. And then the area of focus for my research is also DEI as well as remote work. And I'll pass things off to Stephanie.
Thank you, Sergio. My name is Stephanie Renee Payne, and I am a writer and a storyteller. And I come to the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point's EDD program as that. And my interests are environmental justice and DEI work as well. And I'm very grateful that this program has offered me a way to be a storyteller and a writer. And I will introduce our director, Dr. Erin Redmond.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm the current director of the Educational Sustainability Doctoral Program, and I'm really passionate about sustainability. That's what my background is in. And previously, I worked at Lufana University of Lüneburg and the National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM. And this is actually a picture of me and my daughter at a conference in Vechta in Germany. So I'm going to talk a little bit about educational sustainability broadly. First, when people look at this program, they wonder, well, I'm not a teacher. I don't work in K-12. Can this program work for me? I view education broadly. It can mean working at a museum or a library or being involved in city council. There are so many different ways to engage in education and be an educational change agent for sustainability. So think big, think broad, think about how you can educate anybody out there to make positive change towards sustainability. Then sustainability is often thought of as solely residing within the environmental sphere and ecological knowledge, but we actually embrace the holistic view of sustainability, including the economic and social components. Our program actually has a strong social justice and equity and inclusivity aspect, as well as the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point having a strong MBA program, and we work with those faculty, and those faculty help support our students as well. So through these interdisciplinary partnerships, we're able to really view sustainability from this holistic lens. And then we focus a lot on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These 17 goals really represent different aspects of sustainability that you can engage with. We certainly care about things like poverty, and for people to truly engage in sustainability problem solving, they have to have their basic needs met. They have to feel safe. They can't be starving, right? So when you're looking at zero hunger and good health and quality education, these are all fundamental tenets of sustainability and a sustainable future. So our core principles include transformative learning, systems thinking, futures thinking, ecological thought, pluralistic democracy, diversity and social justice, as well as ethical action. And this may sound like a lot. It certainly feels like a lot to say. But this is based on key sustainability competencies, which there's a variety of people that focus on sustainability competencies like systems thinking and futures thinking. But we wanted to go beyond that, talk about the transformative capacity that we can have in educational sustainability, because we really want this process where you come in and are open to change, are open to this shift in mindset, in way of viewing, and way of doing things in the world. So transformative learning is a unique piece to our program that is really tied to that educational component. And then diversity and social justice, again, it's something that we focused on heavily in our program with the equity and inclusivity certificate, but also with our foundational courses being based in social justice. And then I want to end by talking a little bit about ethical action. For me, I feel like sustainability knowledge is great and having that understanding is wonderful, but without action, without actual doing, we're not really shifting towards sustainability in the real world. So I view this doctorate as action research, action-based, real world. And so that's a real core principle of our program. Here's our leadership. Our assistant dean is Dr. Linda Fernholtz, and she's a passionate educator, really passionate about literacy and her work in Nicaragua. If you enter the program, you'll certainly meet her right away. Me, of course, and then Dr. Kathy Shader is the assistant director, and she's really excited to introduce her home and her campus to everybody during residency. And is also just a passionate educator. She's very passionate about outdoor education as well. So here's a little bit about the program. We are 54 credit hours, and if you take 6 credits a term, which is 6 credits summer, 6 credits fall, 6 credits spring, that's 18 credits a year. So you could complete your 54 credits in 3 years. But just keep in mind that there's a dissertation to complete. So even though credit hours could be completed in 3 years, allow yourself time to write, to reflect as well. So because this is a cohort-based learning environment, we do have courses that we hope, even if you're only taking 1 course a term, that you can take with your cohort in the first year and a half. But you can decide to take a semester off or to do only 3 credits every term. So really, this individualized program is an important tenet of our program, because we know that all of you that are looking at this program and all of our students involved in the program have incredibly busy lives and full lives. They're working professionals, have all sorts of things that they're juggling and balancing. So really, our program is largely asynchronous, but in order to have that personal touch, we do have some synchronous sessions. We also have professional learning communities, and then we have the residency, which is in person. And I think the residency is such an important piece to that personal relationship building. And you will end this program not just with a doctorate and a dissertation, but with a network of people that believe in you, that have your back, and will always advocate for you. And we have different dissertation formats because we really believe in allowing for different ways of engaging with research. And I'm going to let Stephanie talk about that in a moment. But I want to highlight the dissertation committees, which you can have 3 to 5 committee members, and you can have committee members from all over the world, as well as having committee members that do not have terminal degrees, because we really acknowledge that there's a real world, local, professional knowledge that could contribute to your dissertation. So of the 3 committee members, only 2 have to have terminal degrees. And now I'm going to turn the talk over to Stephanie Payne to talk a little bit more about the dissertation options.
Thank you so much, Dr. Redmond. what was so interesting to me and so compelling about joining this community, and I call it a community because as Dr. Redmond shared, the cohort process and family, I want to say, really is sort of an extra tier of support in this program. And we see that in the dissertation process. And what's so lovely about the dissertation process is that it is open to everyone. It's meant to be a more celebratory piece of how we come together with the ending part, or I should say the beginning of your career, but the ending part of this educational process in such a lovely way that is invitational. What was really wonderful for me is to sit in on dissertations over Zoom from all over. I am coming to you from California, and we've had people from all over the world, and to also be able to be in company with not just the person's defense. And I don't even want to use that language because I feel like this program has transcended the language of defense. It's more so not just a celebration, but also an introduction to someone's way of thinking, someone's way of research, someone's way of viewing the world that is so invitational and inspirational that I think it's really been inspiring piece of this. And also looking at the creativity and the individuality of voice. I'm thinking of one dissertation where a Native American individual just really reflected on their journey, understanding that culture, which was their culture. So this was a part that I think is really an important part of the piece, and I'm going to turn it over to Sergio now, who will speak a little bit more.
Yeah, so to talk a little bit about the residency options through the EDD program, uh, for starters, the first residency you ever attend will probably be in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, which is really useful because everyone can kind of come together. Your cohort will kind of be your team. It'll be your support system. And so getting to meet everyone face to face and shake hands and hopefully by the end of the residency, give each other hugs when everyone kind of goes their separate ways. Yeah, residency is just really cool. And it's a time to not just network and not just see what other people are doing or not just see what people are interested in, but really to feel inspired because you're really surrounded by a lot of people that are, for lack of a better term, trying to do the same thing that you're doing. You're trying to expand the knowledge of a certain topic. You're trying to, for a lot of people, create your magnum opus. One of the greatest things you've done is potentially going to be your dissertation. And then also to talk about sort of the little options that kind of appear later on during your tenure in the EDD program. There are international options. So this past year, a group of us went to Costa Rica. So basically a lot of different things, including lodging, transportation, activities, a bundle of meals were all covered by UWSP and their tuition. And this was a really unique opportunity, again, for that networking, for that bonding with a lot of your peers that, again, are doing the same thing that you're doing, struggling through the same struggles that you're going through. But it was just really cool to experience a different culture, a different place. And we had amazing tour guides that knew the ins and outs of Costa Rica, and they taught us things. We got to visit sustainable farms, family-owned farms, and there was just a lot of cool things going on. And additionally, like on top of that network of peers and fellow students in the doc program, you also have faculty and staff that are also guiding you through the process. So to talk a little bit about the dissertation committee, your committee is likely going to start forming throughout your residency through the people that you talk to, through the connections and relationships that you make. So residency is really an all-encompassing sort of part of the EDD program. And it's just really amazing. And I will pass it on to the next person.
Perfect. Thank you. As some folks have mentioned already in our presentation, this program in particular provides an opportunity to really focus on equity and inclusion. In our kind of core curriculum of classes, we have a number of equity and inclusion based and social justice based educational opportunities. Something that's really cool is there's also an option for an additional add-on. So I believe it's one or two classes in addition to the classes that you're already slotted for in the program. You can also walk away with a graduate certificate in equity and inclusion, which is pretty incredible. So it's kind of almost a twofer. But ultimately, this program has 12 credit hours, about a year to complete if you're only taking those courses. But again, as I had mentioned, they are really built into the fabric of our EDD program. And so it's also not much of a lift to continue and actually complete the certificate. The class structure is similar to all of our other classes. Primarily, it is asynchronous and online, but there are some synchronous opportunities to, again, really continue to develop those interconnections and fantastic opportunities to meet each other. And it's important to note, right, the question that a lot of us have is how do we fund this, right? And so our tuition and aid is all very available online. You can see the price per credit hour as published. Currently, it's $725 per credit hour, but we also do have an expectation to pay some segregated fees as distance learning students. To cover the cost of it, we have opportunities really all over the place. FAFSA, of course, exists. And then we also offer some scholarships as students in the program. But my personal favorite is to talk a little bit about graduate assistant positions, as all of us on this call, of course, besides Dr. Redman, are in fact graduate assistants. And so with that, we have all sorts of opportunities to help out in terms of administrative work, or also just things that kind of define a little bit more of your interested area, really across campus. And so it's a really fantastic way to offset some of that cost while continuing to really work in a field that you're excited about. Now I'll pass it over, of course, to Sergio to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Sarah. So to talk a little bit more about graduate assistantships and research assistantships, not only are they an opportunity to help fund sort of your educational journey, but it's also an opportunity to sort of explore new areas of interest, again, build on your network. And then I've also had the opportunity to go to several conferences, both system level, regional level, and then even national conferences as well. And that comes with a couple different benefits. First and foremost, it's the people you get to meet, the connections, the relationships. Again, it's very comparable to a cohort in the EDD program. You get to connect with people that might not be doing the exact same work that you're doing, but you're all kind of in a collective effort to move the needle, right? For sustainability, for DEI, for a lot of different sort of initiatives. And then on top of that, I think it also increases your confidence to a certain extent. I think I don't want to speak for every doctoral student, but I will say that imposter syndrome is definitely very real as a doc student. And so to sort of see what other professionals are working on and to see what they're struggling with and to see that they face the same challenges that you face is really valuable. And then finally, I think just kind of getting that experience and building those skills and abilities through graduate assistantships or research assistantships, you're going to learn new things. You're going to be challenged in new ways. So I think it's an awesome time not just to fund your education, but also to walk away with additional skills on top of the skills you're going to walk away with from the EDD program.
And we'll wrap up here. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Here's my email address and phone number. Probably use email address though. And then you can also email the School of Education SOE grad at uwsp.edu. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or anybody at the School of Education if you have further questions. And thank you so much for your time.